In this video, I'm going to show you how to use JASP to calculate some basic descriptive statistics, means, standard deviations in particular, and also how to build a frequency distribution table and chart a histogram. The first thing we need to do in JASP is to download it from the website and install it on your computer. So if you haven't done that yet, it might be a good idea to do that first, then come back to this video. Once you have JASP, we really want to start with Excel. We build our data files in Excel and we save them in what's called the comma-separated value format or file type. Normally Excel is saved as an XLS file, or the newer Excel is XLSX file types. I'll show you how to do that. First, let's open Excel. Now, earlier I've created a file and I have it here ready to go. So I'll just bring it up and you'll see the Excel spreadsheet, and right here up in the corner is column A. Now in Excel, and it's true of all spreadsheets for statistical analysis, each row is one person. So each row must have one person's score. The first row is always a variable label. I'm going to call this one scores. If we knew what the scores were, say homework scores or opinion scores or a preference rating score, we might want to go ahead and use a full term for it. However, it's also important to use one word, no special symbols, and keep it as short as possible. So preference rating might be pref-R or pref-rate, right? We then type in each person's score in that A column. First person received a 10, the second person has a score of 4, the next person has a score of 6, so on and so forth until we have all the data, each person's score in the spreadsheet. We can now save this spreadsheet, and we want to save as and give it a file name. I named this one FREQ, frequency, short for frequency. And as I mentioned, I want to save it as a comma-separated file format. So when I click on file format or file type, I get a list of all the types I can save it in, and I find any one of them that says CSV, comma-separated values, and I can now save. It's going to come back and ask me if I'm sure I want to do that, because I won't have all the features of a real Excel file. But yes, I do, so I continue or click OK. I can now close out this file and open JASP. When you download JASP, you'll get a little blue J icon somewhere on your computer, in your toolbar, or Start Programs, Start Menu, whatever. When you open it, it looks like this. I'm going to go ahead and make it larger. Ooh, there we go. So you can see now up in the upper right corner I have File and Common. Well, I want the File tab, so I'm going to click on File, and that lets me open files. And I can also then click Open. And I'm looking for the frequency CSV file, or FREQ, short for frequency. And I can open that file. Once it opens, I then get all of my scores that I saw in the spreadsheet showing up now in JASP. I see the label scores and I see the numbers. Alright, I'm now ready for descriptive statistics. I want descriptive statistics on scores, so I can see that the word scores is over in this box. I need to move it to this box to let the computer know, let JASP know that's the variable. Some data files have lots of variables and you may not want to use them all. So you tell JASP which variable to use by simply grabbing the variable name, dragging it over. You can also highlight it and click the arrow. Once I put scores in there, it now comes back and fills in a little table here. It says there are 13 scores. Well, how about we display the plots of those 13 scores, and when I click on that, I get the histogram. Your homework is going to ask you for a frequency plot of the scores, and there it is. It's also going to ask you for a table of frequencies, the frequency distribution table. And when you click on Display Frequency Tables, you'll see frequency tables show up in the primary window. We see the score of 3 has a frequency of 1. it is 7.7% of the total, and it is 7.7 in terms of cumulative percentages. And we see the rest of the information for each score presented here in a frequency table, just like you saw in the textbook. The textbook chapter, what was it? Chapter 3, I believe. All right, so that's interesting. We have our frequency distribution table. Now, the nice thing about JASP is, although it's not exactly APA style and format, it's close enough for our purposes. Okay? So you can simply copy and paste these. You may need to do a screenshot and then use some kind of software to carve out the piece, copy and paste in a Word document. I'll do that shortly. Or you may simply be able to save these individually. If you roll your cursor over, say, the frequency table, a little blue icon shows up that says Cite. And if you click on that, it copies it to your clipboard. You can now open a Windows document. Let's open a blank document in Windows, and I can now paste that frequency table right into my homework assignment in a Word document. How easy is that? All right, we're not going to keep that, and we'll close that one out. The next thing we want to do is go back into JASP and take a look at statistics. So if I click on the arrow beside statistics, I get options of what statistics are available. I see quartiles. You remember quartiles, deciles, percentiles. Quartiles, I can get cut points. Percentiles, I can get the mean. How about the mean, the median, the mode, the variance, the range? That's probably good enough for our purposes. And there they are. Now, you may have wondered what I just did there that transferred everything over. Well, there's an odd thing in JASP. It's just something you have to live with, I guess. I'll go back and show you. Here in the file, here in the file, you'll notice a little icon up here. I changed that icon from 3 little circles to a diagonal orange bar. Let me highlight it again for you. It's kind of hard to see. You probably can't see it at all, but I'll describe it to you. There's an orange bar. There's a little bar chart of blue and orange bars and circles, blue and orange little circles. What these represent are nominal data, the 3 circles, ordinal data, the 3 bars, and ratio and interval is represented by the single icon, the orange bar, the diagonal orange bar, like a ruler. Now, you can't calculate means and standard deviations on ordinal data or nominal data. So if that orange bar, if you have the 3 circles there, it won't do means or standard deviations, but it will do frequency distributions. But then if you want the frequency distributions, it's got to be nominal and ordinal, not the orange bar. So to make this thing work, you've got to use both of them. So what I did was, first I tell it nominal, and we got our frequency distribution and our histogram. I then changed it to the orange bar, and that's when we got the APA table, or almost an APA table, showing means, median, mode, standard deviation, variance, the range, minimum and maximum scores. I got all our basic descriptive statistics. Okay? Now in the homework, when it says what's the mean of these scores, the mean is 6.154. What's the median? 6. What's the mode? 6. So JASP will do all the math for us. It's just now a matter of cutting and pasting the tables into your homework assignment and maybe typing up some answers.